I like to consider myself a revolutionary. I'm a game designer that doesn't want to make the next big hit. I want to change education. Drexel was the culmination of a search I thought was never going to end. I had been searching for an educational degree plan that used game-based learning as its focus. When I first started this search, this degree plan didn't exist. As I was about to give up and go to school in Florida for a Master's of Science in Game Design, I stumbled across this in a search for something else. When I decided to go back to school years ago, after a career as a graphic designer, I thought I'd be a game artist. That was the intention. I've always loved video games. The stories fascinated me, and the art was gorgeous. Committing completely to the ideal of becoming a game design teacher, I walked into finishing my bachelor's at the University of Baltimore with my eyes set on attaining a master's. I wanted to teach at the university level. To my surprise, the program at UB opened another doorway for me to consider methods of teaching all manner of subjects from my current background. It was through this program that I was able to experiment with the concept of combining game design and education by meeting and working with like-minded classmates. For as long as I can remember, I've wanted to make a substantial difference in the lives of others. Like most people who have such altruistic inclinations, the biggest question is always how. How do I make a difference? Education was very important to my mother, who raised my younger brother and myself alone. She saw it as the only way we could get ahead in this world. Growing up in Texas when I did, I was subject to racial and gender discrimination and saw firsthand many classmates not be able to achieve for one reason or another. My mother's determination to see me graduate high school carried me when obstacles seemed unsurmountable. As the first person to graduate high school in my family and to go on to complete a bachelor's, it would have been easy to say I had done enough, but I don't feel that way. I worked for a college in Baltimore the entire time I was in school. I worked very closely with the social sciences and teacher education division of my school, and it was very eye-opening in regards to student preparedness for higher education, as this was a community college. It saddened me greatly to hear the stories my friends and coworkers told about some of the lack of student success at this level. As a person who managed to attain some degree of achievement, I feel a social and moral responsibility for others that may unintentionally be being failed by the current system. I watched as professors, program chairs, my deans struggled with how to catch students up and make sure they were successful. It was a chance of fate that one of the professors was in a conversation with another and exclaimed, "In the hallway before I get to class, I can hear my students talking about video games. They know so much details about scores and what armor does and what and how you can figure out puzzles. Why can't they do that with what I teach them?" In my mind, all I could think was, there is no other reason than how the information is given. And this ideal stayed with me as I struggled to put together my application, gather letters of recommendation, and take the steps needed to be a part of one of the only game-based learning programs in the country. At the end of the day, We have to understand that the problems in education aren't just problems by state or district or individual schools. They're our problems as a generation that is responsible for the next. If we find that we have a passion or affinity for something that can potentially aid their course, we must see it out. I feel like I can provide a unique perspective to the dialogue of redesigning education, and I'm thrilled that I have this opportunity to do